5 o'clock is our time. San Antonio's first news. Good Monday morning. I'm Charity McCurdy. Among our top stories, a regime change in Syria and the Alamo Bowl matchup is set. First, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes in mornings. Your Monday forecast, dense fog advisory until 9 o'clock this morning, becoming partly cloudy, a high in the upper 70s. Tonight's low 48, currently 52 degrees. President-elect Trump sat down for his first network interview since being elected with NBC on Sunday. He appeared to walk back previous statements that he would go after his critics and rivals,
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday.
Good morning on a Monday.
Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend.
Lucinda Sullivan in here.
Lucinda, good morning.
Woo!
Jacob C. Hernandez, good morning.
Sycamore and Travis. Mr. T is in here. It's amazing.
It's like a who's who of chat rooms.
It is. And yes, Lucinda Sullivan, I do have coffee.
Amen
Just for
to that.
Sam as well. It's the wonder drug that works wonders. I've been in the morning, not in this one, but when I first wake up, I throw some Peruvian cacao into my coffee.
Is that like the Peruvian marching powder, Chris?
It's not the Peruvian marching powder because management frowns upon Peruvian.
You know what they
marching.
don't know won't hurt them, Chris.
What's in my coffee is in my coffee.
Good morning, Kemper. Tough game on Saturday. It was a good game, though. I enjoyed it. Tough outcome, but good game.
Good morning, Rooster. Good morning, Kemper.
Did you happen to catch the opening of Saturday Night Live?
I did not. I did see there was a church lady.
That
was that it?
That was the opening. It was actually not bad.
Good.
Other than that, I can't tell you anything else because that's all I watched.
Yeah, I saw the church lady thing pop up on my feed, but there was so much going on.
Yeah.
So much football to watch.
Yeah.
Meet the press.
Yeah.
I just didn't get a chance to look at it.
It was actually pretty funny. I have to admit.
You can call him Al. Bashir Al Assad. Paul Simon wrote a song about it.
It's the one song you can't sing right now.
Right. Two men shot in a fight, or as we call it, Sunday night.
Was it? Let me guess. Was it on the west side?
Longmont Street. I don't know where Longmont is.
I'm going to go with west side.
So Kemper and everybody else in here, Tommy Miller, good morning, Tommy. And Lucinda may not know this yet. She's a good friend of Steve DeRocco. The Rock was released from the hospital yesterday. He is at home.
Recovering at home. Nice.
I don't know if he's going to jump in here this morning or not. But
good morning, Jonathan.
It is great news. And he told me, and again, I'll let him tell people this. A doctor gave him a dire prognosis like on Tuesday of last week, just 6 days ago.
It flipped around.
And yeah, within like 2 days, it flipped. And
wow.
He rallied in a big way. And it's a miracle. It's miraculous. And a lot of people were praying for him. So a lot of people are very, very happy. Nobody more than Steve.
Oh, imagine.
So, Lucinda, how did the Colts do yesterday? Lucinda's a big
good morning,
Colts
Tim.
fan.
Did they play yesterday?
think they did, or did they have a bye also?
I think they might have had a bye.
I don't remember them playing. I always.
Yeah, I don't remember them playing at all.
I know Lucinda's a big fan.
Yeah, they lost the game I was at.
Bastards.
Somebody got shot at a QT. That ain't good.
In Live Oak.
Yeah. Yeah, they were off.
Okay.
I thought, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I don't see them.
Yeah, I didn't see them winning, so.
Rams beat the Bills 44-42.
Oh, I know.
Wow, what a shootout.
And
that benefits Kansas City.
Well, Kansas City won another second game.
Now they have a 2-game lead over the Bills.
Yeah, they clinched their division, but yeah, they won 19-17. Another field goal to win the game.
Getting a little tired of the Chiefs.
Well, somebody beat them then.
I've seen that movie many times.
No, Detroit, man, that's a team. They're the best team in football right now.
I hope Detroit wins it. I like everything about Detroit.
There's nothing I don't like about them. Let's put it that way. Yep. Bernie Greyhound's going to state semis.
Nice. My goodness. So yeah, the Colts did not lose yesterday.
They did not.
Nor did the Texans.
No, they did
not.
My
Houston Texans.
Cowboys didn't lose yesterday, but they play tonight, so we don't know. And they're playing Cincinnati, who really needs a win bad.
Yeah, I watched like the first half of Hard Knocks, the NFC North.
Yeah. How was it? Was it good?
Well done.
Because I've been thinking about watching it.
I'm a sucker for Hard Knocks. I love how they do what they do. It's really, really good. Oh, very smart of you to put Elf Louise Radiothon on.
Yes.
Very good.
We need it. 3 days, baby. Yeah, that should be a great game, Kemper, against Clemson. Wow.
And everybody's saying that Texas in that 5 seed has the easiest path.
That's what they're saying, but I don't like hearing that.
You beat Clemson, you get Arizona State.
I know, but still, Arizona State was playing pretty good.
You
Saturday.
And I and 9 more people could beat Arizona State.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. They look pretty good.
So
Saturday.
yeah, Texas has a.
That's what they keep saying. I saw that yesterday.
Shot into the final 2, or would that be the final 4? That'd be the final 4. I think.
No. 4 already. It'll be 12 minus 4, 8. So 4. No, I don't know. Too much math.
So
stand by Sam. Gotcha. Stand by Chris.
No, that'd be the round of 2 because after they beat. No. I'll have to look at the bracket. Welcome into this beautiful day, Monday, December 9th, 2024. 3 days until the Elf Louise Radiothon. 4 days, and check that, 16 days. Good math. 16 days until Christmas. 42 days until Inauguration Day. 62 days until Super Bowl 59. And 193 days until Mr. T and I celebrate the first day of summer 2025. Charity McCurdy, how much fog did you see on the way in this morning?
It was pretty darn dense. So yeah, I had to drive extra slow this morning coming in, and there's always someone that doesn't have their headlights on. I don't know if you see that, but at 2:30, 3 in the morning, you encounter all sorts of unusual things on the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do. Now, the fog was above my car as I was coming in, but it is now ground level.
Yes.
It has reached the ground now. But I hurt myself on Saturday, my thumb for my remote. I think I might have pulled something.
Really?
Yeah, flipping back and forth between games, and yeah.
There was a lot to flip through.
Yes, there was.
Yeah. And back to the fog, Charity, you and I drive a similar route on the way to work.
Mm-hmm.
Right as I was jumping on 1604, not only was it foggy, the street lights were out.
Oh gosh.
So it was total darkness for about a mile until I got to close to 281.
Wow.
So that's always fun.
Yeah, and that dense fog advisory runs until 9 o'clock this morning. So it's going to really inconvenience a lot of people during the morning commute, which is always busy.
Yeah, I wonder if all the planes have been grounded.
That's a great question. We will find out. We will effort to find out. Be sure with this fog, slow it down. The slower you go, the safer it will be. I mean, don't go ridiculously slow, but back it down a little bit.
Just be careful.
Always a good idea. Speaking of the traffic, let's get you caught up on traffic and weather together.
Yeah, fog this morning, a dense fog advisory till 9 a.m. Highs today in the upper 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, highs in the upper 50s. And then on Wednesday, sunshine, highs in the low 60s. 52 in fog in Alamo Heights, 52 in fog in Leon Valley, and 51 here at the Radio Ranch. WOAI News Time, 512.
San Antonio's first news, that is Mr. T, Tim Merriman. She's Charity McCurdy. Charlie Parker with Those Were the Days in the next hour. I'm Chris Duell. EJ Pacheco and Andrew Zimmel doing the heavy lifting, flying the Millennium Falcon. Andrew is directing our YouTube broadcast. If you want to see us on YouTube, go to YouTube, look for 1200 WOAI. There is a live chat in there that you can partake of should you choose. And we often jump in there, and we also talk to you during the commercial breaks frequently as well. And Charity, Mr. T brought up injuring his thumb on the remote control over the weekend because there was so much football. We know a lot of things now that we did not know going into the weekend. We know the playoff structure, who made the college football playoff. We know where UTSA is going in a bowl game. And we know that Prime Time, Coach Prime, is coming to San Antonio to the Valero Alamo Bowl.
That is so awesome. I think that's going to be a huge draw. So you got the Brigham Young Cougars versus the Colorado Buffaloes on December 28th at the Alamo Dome. I think that's going to be an awesome matchup.
I think it got exactly what they wanted in a matchup with the Valero Alamo Bowl. By the way, we'll check in with President and CEO Derek Fox coming up at 7:40 this morning and just see how he did this.
Yes.
How did they pull this off?
And I wonder, the Brigham Young Cougars, I wonder if a lot of Cougars are going to come out to the Alamo Dome to watch that game and maybe look for some young men. What do you think?
I'm kind of offended. Am I a Cougar? I'm now 45.
That's but you're married, so you're not. You're not on the prowl.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think if you were, I think if you were single, you would certainly qualify as a Cougar.
Oh, wow.
If indeed you were on the prowl.
I never thought I would see the day, but okay.
It just sounds, whenever I hear Cougar, my mind goes to that kind of Cougar, not to John Cougar Mellencamp, but to what we know as Cougars. And I'm a big fan of Cougars. I mean, when I was a young man, especially.
Oh God, yes.
I was a big fan of Cougars.
Big fan.
Yeah,
big fan.
Just saying. Well, coming up, we got lots of audio of President-elect Donald Trump going on Meet the Press yesterday, sitting down with Kristen Welker. My goodness gracious, they had a long conversation, covered a lot of topics. And I felt, and I think we'll hear from Mr. T and Charity about it, I felt the president-elect was different in that interview than I expected, and I think he conducted himself quite well. We'll get into that and a whole lot more coming up. WOAI News Time, 5:15. Yeah, that kind of.
And we're back.
I do not understand that. Mag 7189.
What up, Mag?
Good morning.
What up, Mag, yo?
Mag uses the term milfy. Milfy. Interesting. The key word is milfy. What was that? Was it password?
Password.
The secret word is?
The password is?
The password is?
Milfy.
Milfy.
You are correct, Rooster. You are correct.
Now, if I used the term milfy, that
then
could have been offensive, but you think about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a term of endearment, is it not?
God, yes. The fighting Chanticleers and the Roadrunners, man.
Is that what they are? The Chanticleers?
The fighting Chanticleers.
What the hell is that? Help me out. What is a Chanticleer? Is it like a chandelier?
No, it's a fighting rooster.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Rooster, I'm glad you don't fight.
Yeah, well.
Rooster's a lover, not a fighter.
He's a lover, not a fighter.
Coach Prime. Prime time. Prime time. Prime time.
And I just saw this morning that the quarterback for Brigham Young just got a NIL deal with Manischewitz Wine.
Wow.
Because he's Jewish. And they just signed this thing and just got it done.
Nice.
Yeah.
But is he as good as the Chosen Rosen?
No. Gilfy.
Gilfy.
Yeah, we've seen a few of those. December 28th, Rooster. December 28th is the Valero Alamo Bowl.
Primetime reacting. I wish we could also go look for that.
He's like, I love San Antonio. One of my favorite cities to go to. Love it, I tell you. Bum, 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 bum.
Do you have some Trump audio?
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, you want to do it here?
No. I'm coming into
40?
520.
520?
If you got
Sure.
some.
Yeah.
You got a little burst.
I do. I do, yo. I do.
Thank you.
Let's see if he's got a short one for me. They're all 30 seconds. Hang on. I might have one that's shorter. I've got this one. Hang on, guys.
Well, if you wanted to cleanse your palate from football yesterday, meet the press. Kristen Welker sat down for a wide-ranging interview with President-elect Donald Trump. We will dive into that coming up. First, Charity, what stories are you following?
The government of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad collapsed over the weekend. The search continues for the suspect in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, and Brad Simpson is set to make his first court appearance today in connection to the murder of his still missing wife. We'll have the very latest right now, traffic and weather.
It looks like it's going to get a little bit colder when we welcome in News 4 San Antonio meteorologist Jeanette Kaye. Good morning, Jeanette. Thanks, Jeanette. 51 degrees here at the Radio Ranch. WOAI News Time, 520.
San Antonio's first news, the first major interview with a major television network given by President-elect Donald Trump took place yesterday. Actually, they taped it on Friday, but it aired yesterday on NBC. Meet the Press with Kristen Welker. And they talked about a wide range of issues, including vaccines and autism.
When you look at the numbers, we really don't have a very healthy country.
Well, sir, going back 25 years, studies show that there is no link between vaccines and autism. And yet it sounds like you are open to the possibility of him looking
I'm
at
open to
getting rid of
anything.
them.
I think somebody has to find out. If you go back 25 years ago, you had very little autism.
Donald Trump with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press. Charity, we were talking about this heading into it on Friday. And Kristen Welker, NBC News, neither she nor that network are big fans of Donald Trump typically. I expected a more combative Donald Trump, but he was fairly reserved, and it was a very, very cordial conversation in general, I thought.
It really was. He remained calm, and I imagine that's got to be hard to do, especially with Kristen Welker. I mean, she was peppering him with questions, and I would argue at times she seemed more animated during the conversation than he did. But he remained calm and was able to answer all of her questions, which is pretty incredible because they've had past confrontations which didn't go quite as smoothly.
I thought he was very presidential, and as you said, very, very subdued, and I liked it. I thought he did a great job, and I learned a lot about what's going to happen on day one.
Yeah, he gave a mixed message, I thought, on retribution to his political enemies. He did say again, and he said this before, he said the retribution will be success. We will have success as a nation, and that will be my retribution. But where I saw the mixed message, Charity, he was talking about Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, who he said will be tasked with whether or not to prosecute people for wrongdoing. So he kind of, when she asked him, are you going to go after your political enemies? He said, not necessarily, but he did say, if someone was crooked, we certainly might look into it. And I was thinking to myself, we've been calling Joe Biden Crooked Joe for at least 5 years now. So Joe Biden better watch out.
Yeah, and Welker followed up with another question. Will she direct Kash Patel to go after a dishonest or crooked politician? And he said, no, not at all, not at all. So
yeah,
interesting messaging
there
there.
was that. Yeah, there was that. But we have a question for the folks.
We do have a question. We would love to hear from you. Did you see Donald Trump sit down with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press? And if you did, what did you think about it? What struck you about that conversation? And what issue jumped out to you about that conversation? Charity, one of the things that jumped out to me talking about mass deportations, they talked about, and President-elect Trump said, we're going to start with the criminals.
Yeah.
We're going to get the criminals out of the country. But then he said, we're going to start going after other people. And Kristen Welker said, do you mean dreamers? Do you mean people who have lived in this country for a long time? And Donald Trump said essentially, yeah, we've got to get them out. Although with the dreamers, to be more accurate, he did say he would work with the Democrats to come up with a deal, on the dreamers.
Yeah, but still concerning to hear him say that children born in the U.S. could be deported if their parents came into the country illegally. So that opens up the door to a lot of concerns, I'm sure, for children of illegal immigrants as well as their parents.
Yeah, and the fact that he wants to do all this on day one. Day one is going to be a busy, busy day for the president. If you look at everything that he laid out that he wants to do on day one, he's going to be busy.
He's going to be very, very busy, but it will certainly, if half of what he is promising and predicting comes true, it's going to be a historic
Amen.
Day one. All right, so tell us, go to the free iHeartRadio app. It's a free download. A lot of you already have it. Look for that. Look for 1200 WOAI. Press that microphone button. Tell us what you thought about Donald Trump's sit down with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press, and anything about that interview jump out at you. We'll play your reactions on the air. We'll react to them as well. Lots more coming up, including, as Charity mentioned, Brad Simpson's first court appearance today. We'll get into that this morning as well. Right now, your Fox Business Report, WOAI News Time 525.
And we're back.
Kemper, Mag, Tommy Miller, Tim, Travis, M1A1, Rooster.
Oh, look. She's with child.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still a kind of a letdown from the very first World Card girl. That
Yes.
was just amazing.
The one,
Yes.
the only,
Yes.
Vanessa Macias.
Or as we used to call her in the ticket, the World Card girl.
For the longest time, she was the World Card girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ruby slippers sell for $28 million. Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz.
Why?
$28 million Ruby slippers. And in 1939 dollars, that movie was probably made for $2 million.
Yeah.
Who knows? Something. Who knew? That is
They're
wild.
god awful ugly.
$28 million.
That's just ridiculous. Somebody has way too much money.
Yes, they do. Oh, time for birthdays.
Yeah. All right. God, I thought we were going to miss it. Happy birthday, Alma.
Alma, everybody.
She looks very happy.
Well, it's Alma's birthday.
I know. She looks very happy.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's it. It's just
My
Alma's
goodness.
birthday today.
Got to be more. They must tell you about each person. That must be what takes so long.
Winter.
Winter. That's an
Winter
odd
with
way
a-
to spell
winter
winter.
with a Y.
Winter with a Y. See,
Yeah.
if you're a parent, why?
Why? Why would you use a Y? Why?
To spell winter.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, their other kid's summer and spelled with a C.
We got to start sending in. We got to start sending in photos.
Well, you remember on Fox 29, somebody sent one in and they obviously don't check what they put up there.
Yeah.
And the guy's name was a Spanish swear word.
Ah, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, it was funny. We laughed.
Kemper, I called Elf Louise. Very sweet to know all volunteer spots for this year are taken.
Beautiful.
Said to call back in August. So glad for them. Very cool, Kemper. Nice of you.
To reach out, yes.
Yeah, to take the initiative and try to help out. Which reminds me, I think you and I, either today or starting tomorrow, should do daily Elf Louise videos
Sure.
for social media,
Sure.
counting
Let's
it
start
down.
today.
Yeah, let's do
start
one.
it
Yeah, let's
today.
do that today.
Yeah.
Um,
And then we need to do one coming up. Derek Fox and
yes,
Coach Traylor will do them
And I
together.
gotta look for. I don't know where they are. I gotta look for one. We need. If you have a Santa hat at home,
I have a Santa hat.
bring it tomorrow
I
if
have.
you can.
I have two actually. I have one that lights up and one that doesn't. I prefer the one that doesn't.
In fact, I should tell Charity if she has a Santa hat to bring it to us, so we could actually shoot one with Charity
Sure.
tomorrow.
That'd be great.
Right after.
After we do the one in the normal one.
Yes. Stick with. I think it's topic A. Stick with it again at 5:40.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got more audio.
Okay. Yeah, it helps me to hear it. That way I can.
Hang on, folks. Here comes Charity.
5:31 is our time. San Antonio's first news. Good Monday morning. I'm Charity McCurdy. Among our top stories, Donald Trump conducts his first network interview since the election, and the husband of the missing Almas Park mother is set to appear in court. First, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes in mornings. Your Monday forecast, dense fog advisory until 9 a.m. Partly cloudy this afternoon, a high in the upper 70s. Tonight's low 48, right now 51 degrees. President-elect Trump sat down for his first network interview since he was elected with NBC on Sunday. Trump said he would deport children who are citizens in order to keep families together on NBC News' Meet the Press.
We have to do our job, and you have to have a series of standards and a series of laws. And in the end, look, our country is a mess.
Incoming border czar Tom Homan has proposed mass deportations for migrants with criminal charges. Republican National Committee co-chair Laura Trump is stepping down. Fox's Deborah Valentine has the details.
Laura Trump made the announcement on the social media platform X. She previously told Fox she's open to filling the Senate seat being vacated by Marco Rubio. He's been chosen by President-elect Trump as his Secretary of State.
I would be honored, Todd, to serve as the next senator from my state right now. I've lived here for 3.5 years, of Florida.
The final decision on who fills out the remainder of Rubio's term is the decision of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Deborah Valentine, Fox News.
Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has fled to Russia, where he has been granted asylum following a rebel uprising against his regime. Speaking in Japan, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said the Biden administration is working to ensure that terrorists will not use the turmoil to create a terrorist state.
There's a potential that elements in the area, such as ISIS, could try to take advantage of this opportunity and regain capability.
In response, the U.S. and Israel has carried out airstrikes. The rebel movement is led by HTS, an organization that was once affiliated with al-Qaeda and an organization the U.S. and the UN consider to be a terrorist group. Republicans are rallying support for President-elect Trump's pick for Defense Secretary. Beth Myers reports.
Pete Hegseth has been under fire from Democrats and even some Republicans for his hardline approach to the military. But San Antonio Congressman Chip Roy says he likes what the Fox News host stands for.
That wokeism is destroying the United States military. I agree with Pete that we don't need to have endless wars.
He chastised his fellow Republicans who refused to support the incoming administration. Hegseth is a former National Guard officer, and he's vowed to rename the Defense Department and instead go back to calling it the War Department. I'm Beth Myers, News Radio 1200 WOAI.
The husband of missing Almas Park mother, Suzanne Clark Simpson, will make his first court appearance today. Brad Simpson has been indicted on multiple charges, including murder. Despite the absence of body, prosecutors have gathered enough evidence to proceed with charges. The search for the person who allegedly killed United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson continues in New York as investigators release new photos of the suspect and take their search for evidence to Central Park. Fox's Alexis McAdams has the latest.
Sources tell me the photo of the person of interest, they're calling him, was taken on a camera inside of a New York City taxi. It was taken minutes after the shooting as he's on his way to a nearby bus terminal to get out of town. So police are working to find more evidence in Central Park. The dive team searching the waters there, so they're doing everything they can to possibly find the weapon. I'm told that they think he could have just thrown into the water and then fled the area. Investigators say they also believe they found the gunman's backpack in that area. He tried to hide it in the woods, before he took off. Inside, I'm told, was a jacket and some Monopoly money.
The FBI announced a $50,000 reward for any information about the suspect, along with a $10,000 reward the NYPD is offering. A suspected drunk driver is in custody after crashing into a San Antonio police cruiser on Friday. It happened around 11:30 p.m. on Penn Road on the State Highway 151 feeder on the west side. The man reportedly ran a red light and collided with a patrol car. He was arrested on suspicion of DWI. No serious injuries were reported, but the officer was taken to a hospital to be checked out. Well, college football bowl season's upon us, and the matchup for the 32nd annual Valero Alamo Bowl has been announced. Here's Eric Lycum.
This year, the Valero Alamo Bowl features number 17 Brigham Young Cougars' inaugural appearance, taking on number 23 Colorado Buffaloes, who appear for the fourth time. Overall, BYU is 10-2 on the season, and Coach Deion Sanders' Buffs were 9-3, but both teams were tied at 7-2 in Big 12 conference play. Kickoff is set for 6:30, December 28th in the Alamo Dome. I'm Eric Lycum, News Radio 1200 WOAI.
It is 5:37 now with breaking crime news from around the country. Here's Nancy Grace. Traffic and weather together in a minute. But first, to check of your money in the world of business, we say good morning to Courtney Donahoe live at the Bloomberg News Desk. All right, thanks, Courtney. News at the top and bottom of every hour, along with breaking news as it happens. I'm Charity McCurdy. Here's traffic and weather.
San Antonio's first news. Charity McCurdy, Mr. T, Tim Merriman, Charlie Parker in the next hour with Those Were the Days. I'm Chris Duell, Andrew Zimmel, and EJ Pacheco making the show go. And Andrew running our YouTube stream. If you want to watch the show, go to YouTube, look for 1200 WOAI, and you can find us. One of the big stories, and we are all over it, the first major network sit-down interview for President-elect Trump since he was elected took place. At least it aired yesterday on NBC, Meet the Press with Kristen Welker. And among other things, the president-elect talked about what it's going to look like when deportations begin.
We have to have rules and regulations. You can always find something out like, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. I'll tell you what's going to be horrible. When we take a wonderful young woman who's with a criminal and they show the woman, and she could stay by the law, but they show the woman being taken out, or they want her out, and your cameras are focused on her as she's crying, as she's being taken out of our country, and then the public turns against us. But we have to do our job.
I thought that was a fascinating answer, Charity, by President-elect Trump, because if you think about it, there are going to be some horribly sad stories, and depending on how the media chooses to portray them, I can certainly see something like that. A wife or a spouse who's the man in her life is being taken away because he is here illegally. And obviously, there will be moments where there'll be sadness and people crying and people hysterical, and the media will show that.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have the optics of a family being separated, that's definitely going to generate a lot of emotions. But President-elect Trump maintained that they are going to start with criminals first when it comes to the mass deportations, and then they're going to, see how it goes from there. And a lot of this will fall on his border czar, Tom Homan, saying that families with mixed immigration status could be deported together to avoid being separated. So, again, it's kind of a mixed bag on the deportation process and what the president-elect plans to do.
Yeah, and he still intends to end the birthright citizenship. Just because you're born here, he's saying that that is something that he is going to look at closer, because it's the 14th Amendment, I believe, that guarantees that, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and so if to do that, he would have to do something with the 14th Amendment, whether it's an executive action, how he does it or what, but that's going to be tough to pull off.
And he made the point to Kristen Welker that we are the only country that has that law, that if you're born here, you're automatically a citizen. And another thing that he brought up, Charity, and it's true, when you move beyond deporting the criminals, when you start looking to the rest of the population of people who are here illegally, he talked about the economic cost this has on the country. He says, this is exorbitant. It's outrageous. It's costing us a lot of money. But you've got to balance that. You talk about corporations and certainly the farming industry. There's a lot of those jobs that, let's face it, let's be honest, illegals are doing that American workers may not want to do.
Exactly. So I think it's going to be a delicate balancing act, because we've heard economists come out and say that mass deportations could be detrimental to the U.S. economy. And I fully expect President-elect Trump to take a balanced approach to it. He is not going to do anything that would reverse any economic gains, since he is a candidate. During his campaign, that's what the number one issue was for the American voters, was the economy, and he campaigned on that issue heavily.
Coming up, we will hear from you, your talkbacks, on what you thought was a key takeaway of President-elect Trump's sit down with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press. But coming up, Flashback. We'll go back in time, try to figure out what year we land in. WOAI News Time, 5:46.
Hey, good morning, Tim, Chris, and Charity. Hey, it's Rooster. Hey, Charity, this is for you. Yes, you are a cougar in many people's eyes, so don't let the guys disappoint you. I know you're married, but still, you still fall under somewhat of a cougar somewhere. As for the Trump interview, I like what I see in Trump. He's a lot cooler and calmer. I think he's no longer on the defensive end, and I'm glad that I voted for Trump and he's our president. You guys have a great one.
Hey guys, Stephen from Lotto. Yeah, Trump can be calm and presidential because for the last 8 years they've tried everything, including the media and NBC. They tried everything to destroy this man and defeat him, lies, misinformation, and he beat them all. He's the winner, so why does he have to get upset? Okay, now for the fun stuff. What do you call a reindeer with no eyes? I have no idea. And why is it dangerous for snowmen to get really angry? Because they might have a meltdown.
Happy Monday. I didn't listen to the full Trump experience, but I'm counting on you all for the sound bites this morning. I did want to give a big thank you to First News for giving me the Spurs tickets. I went to the game last night, took some friends and their little elementary age nephew who was totally into the game. Great seats, parking pass. So spoiled by you all, First News. Thanks.
It is time to go back in time, but what year will we land in? See if you can figure it out. We'll try to figure it out. Let's play Flashback. Hee hee.
Oh.
Oh. Nobody loves meatloaf like Mr. T. Mr. T, you and Meatloaf go all the way back to the Bat Out of Hell album.
Love
and
that
Rocky
album.
Horror Picture Show.
Love that album.
93, 94, 95.
I'm going to go, I think it was early night. I'll go 93. I really don't know, but I'll guess 93.
Charity, 93?
I have a feeling T's right.
I do too. Let's find out. Yes!
Hey.
Meatloaf for everybody.
Right on.
Charity, what stories are you following?
The Syrian government has collapsed after rebels seized control of Damascus. Donald Trump talks mass deportations on NBC's Meet the Press, and horse-drawn carriages will be a big issue this week for city council. We'll have details right now, traffic and weather.
Dense fog advisory in effect till 9 a.m. and then partly cloudy skies later on after that. Highs in the upper 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, highs in the upper 50s. Wednesday, sunshine, highs in the low 60s with overnight lows tomorrow and Wednesday in the low to mid 60s or 30s, I should say. It is 52 degrees at Lackland Air Force Base, 52 in Lavernia, and 51 right here at the Radio Ranch. WOAI News Times 554.
Did I hear you say low to mid 30s?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Tomorrow night and Wednesday night. Yes.
I am going to be curled up in a ball in the corner, whimpering and swearing.
I hear you.
I'm just saying. If you took time out from a weekend of football, college and pro, maybe you watched, and you should have as an American, Meet the Press with President-elect Donald Trump with his first major network interview. He sat down with Kristen Welker. And Charity, we've been asking the people this morning, did they watch? What were their takeaways? How do they think President-elect Trump did? How do they get us that information?
The free iHeart Radio app. You search 1200 WOAI. Look for the red circle. That is the talkback feature. 30 seconds to sound off once you hit it.
And you'll sound like this.
Hey, good morning, Tim, Chris, and Charity. Hey, it's Rooster. Hey, Charity, this is for you. Yes, you are a cougar in many people's eyes, so don't let the guys disappoint you. I know you're married, but still, you still calling her somewhat of a cougar somewhere. After the Trump interview, I like what I see in Trump. He's a lot cooler and calmer. I think he's no longer on the defensive end, and I'm glad that I voted for Trump and he's our president. You guys have a great one.
Hey guys, Stephen from Lotto. Yeah, Trump can be calm and presidential because for the last 8 years, they've tried everything, including the media and NBC. They tried everything to destroy this man and defeat him, lies, misinformation, and he beat them all. He's the winner, so why does he have to get upset? Okay, now for the fun stuff. What do you call a reindeer with no eyes? I have no idea. And why is it dangerous for snowmen to get really angry? Because they might have a meltdown.
Happy Monday. I didn't listen to the full Trump experience, but I'm counting on you all for the sound bites this morning. I did want to give a big thank you to First News for giving me the Spurs tickets. I went to the game last night, took some friends and their little elementary age nephew who was totally into the game. Great seats, parking pass. So spoiled by you all, First News. Thanks.
We love Kemper. We love all those talkbacks. Keep them coming. We will react on the other side. Charity, with everything you need to know at the top of the hour. And then the latest on the manhunt for the killer of the United Healthcare CEO. WOAI News Time 556.
And we're back.
Woo! Kemper, if you're still in here, great talk back. Rooster, great talk back. Stephen from Lytle, always good. Motorcycle crash at a parade. Where was that?
Whoa.
10 hurt. That must have been one out of control motorcycle.
You're kidding.
Took out 10 people. CNN Hero of the Year. And there he is. And he loves dogs.
Well, what did he do to get?
I do not know.
We need to know. I need to know.
I need to know.
Hang on, guys.
Six o'clock is our time. San Antonio's first news. Good Monday morning. I'm Charity McCurdy. Among our top stories, a regime change in Syria and the Alamo Bowl matchup is set. First, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes in mornings. Your Monday forecast, dense fog advisory until 9 o'clock this morning, partly cloudy this afternoon, a high in the upper 70s. Tonight's low 48, right now 51 degrees. President-elect Trump sat down for his first network interview since he was elected with NBC on Sunday. He appeared to walk back previous statements that he would go after his critics and rivals, including President Biden and his family, on NBC News' Meet the Press.
I'm really looking to make our country successful. I'm not looking to go back into the past. I'm looking to make our country successful. Retribution will be through success.
President Biden is allegedly considering giving preemptive pardons to its administration due to concerns that Trump's administration would unfairly prosecute them. The U.S. and Israel have conducted airstrikes in Syria in an attempt to stop extremists from exploiting the country's turmoil. Jonathan Savage of Fox News has the latest.
Israel says it struck suspected chemical weapons sites and long-range rocket stores. It doesn't want Syria's deadliest weapons falling into the hands of its enemies. Overthrown President Bashar al-Assad was an ally of Iran and Hezbollah, and Syria hosts multiple armed groups. Israel's actions follow the U.S. targeting ISIS over the weekend. Central Command forces conducted dozens of precision airstrikes against militant camps and operatives. A U.S. official telling Fox News ISIS should see that as a warning not to attempt to take advantage of Syria's uncertainty. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
The search continues for evidence in the shooting death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. NYPD dive crews were back in Central Park yesterday searching a pond. Police have found a backpack likely belonging to the suspect, but have yet to recover the gun used in last Wednesday's shooting in Manhattan. Jay-Z is being accused in a civil lawsuit of raping a 13-year-old girl with Sean Diddy Combs at an after-party for the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. Fox's Marianne Rafferty has more.
A woman claims the music star and entrepreneur, along with music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, sexually assaulted her when she was 13 years old. The anonymous accuser says it happened back in 2000. Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, denies the accusation and calls it, quote, idiotic. The woman filed the civil lawsuit against Combs in October, but amended it today to include Jay-Z.
Federal prosecutors in New York charged Diddy in September with racketeering, sex trafficking, and other offenses. His trial is scheduled for May. The husband of missing Almas Park mother, Suzanne Clark Simpson, will make his first court appearance today. Brad Simpson has been indicted on multiple charges, including murder. Despite the absence of the body, prosecutors have gathered enough evidence to proceed with charges. Leaders of San Antonio's horse-drawn carriage industry are holding a news conference this afternoon in an effort to keep their businesses alive. Representatives from 4 carriage companies plan to publicly oppose the city's plan to phase out the carriages. The government is ordering the national milk supply to be tested for bird flu. Experts say this will help narrow down where the virus is spreading.
There are many more cases nationally that are just not being diagnosed and attributed to seasonal flu.
Baylor infectious disease expert Dr. Peter Hotez says there has been a spike of bird flu cases in California, but nationwide, there have been just over 700 dairy herds that have been affected. The Brigham Young Cougars and the Colorado Buffaloes will face off in the 32nd annual Valero Alamo Bowl. Colorado's making its 4th appearance in the Alamo Bowl. Kickoff in the Alamo Dome is on December 28th at 6:30 p.m.
You got that
Well, Taylor Swift's massive Eras tour has come to an end after she completed her final performance in Vancouver. The Eras tour earned over $1 billion and spanned 5 continents and 51 cities. It is 6:06. The Spurs beat the Pelicans at home last night. The voice of the Spurs, Bill Schoening, has more in today's Spurs Report. All right, thanks, Bill. News at the top and bottom of every hour, along with breaking news as it happens. I'm Charity McCurdy. Traffic and weather coming up.
San Antonio's first news, a big 6 o'clock hour is upon us. Charlie Parker with those were the days at 6:48. Coming up at 6:20, we'll talk about the manhunt that continues to try to catch that murderer of the United Healthcare CEO who was gunned down in New York City last week. And coming up, as Charity has been reporting, Brad Simpson, the husband of missing Almas Park mom Suzanne Simpson, will make his first court appearance today. We'll talk about that coming right up. But first, let's get you caught up on traffic and weather together.
Just heard Maria tell us there's that dense fog advisory in effect until 9 o'clock this afternoon. Partly cloudy, highs in the upper 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, highs in the upper 50s. Wednesday, sunshine, highs in the low 60s. Both overnight lows tomorrow and Wednesday in the low to mid 30s. It is 52 degrees at Alamo Ranch, 52 at China Grove, and 51 right here at the Radio Ranch. WOAI News Time 612.
San Antonio's first news, that's Mr. T, Tim Merriman. She's Charity McCurdy. I'm Chris Duell. Charlie Parker at 6:48. And later today, in a courtroom in San Antonio, Brad Simpson, the husband of missing Almas Park mom, Suzanne Clark Simpson, he is charged with her murder. He will make his first court appearance today. Last week, a major development as we learned that Suzanne Simpson's DNA was found on a reciprocating saw that Brad Simpson allegedly tried to hide. It looks like today's court appearance, Charity, from what we understand, will give the court an opportunity to see where both sides are in this case. And it's possible the court could take up the defense motion to quash the indictment, to which I would say, good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, aside from the fact that we don't have a body, Suzanne Clark Simpson remains missing. There's overwhelming evidence in this case when you add the witness testimony, the surveillance video of Brad Simpson outside a Bernie Home Depot buying items consistent with trying to dispose of a body. Even another witness in the parking lot of that Home Depot said Brad Simpson asked him where the nearest dumping site was located. And then you have this hand motorized saw with Suzanne Clark Simpson's DNA on it.
Yeah, and I think the outcome of today's hearing is going to set the tone for the rest of how this trial is going to go, because it's a high profile case. I could see the defense wanting a change of venue. I could see all kinds of things, legal maneuvering to get it out of San Antonio and out of Bexar County to try to get a fair trial for Mr. Simpson.
Yeah, change of venue is a big, big issue because you think about it, Charity. I mean, this is what the city, a local story, I would say arguably the biggest local story since Suzanne Simpson disappeared in October. We've been reporting on it. Television's been reporting on it. Print journalism's been reporting on it. People talking about it throughout the city. So I could see an argument made by the defense team here that it would be difficult to get an impartial jury here in Bexar County.
Yeah, I'm curious to know how that request would play out. And I'm also going to be looking to see whether Brad Simpson's children or family members, his brother, who's been very outspoken against Brad Simpson, telling him to cooperate with authorities for the sake of his children, come clean on this. So I'll be looking to see if he'll have any extended family in court today.
Now, I know this court case is scheduled for 9 a.m. this morning. I wish we could fly downtown and catch it real quick. Maybe we can find it online somewhere.
We will certainly take a look. Absolutely. Coming up, the manhunt continues for whoever shot United Healthcare CEO, the United Healthcare CEO in New York City last week. Mr. T and I were both wrong. I thought they were going to catch that guy on Friday as we were getting more imagery of him. Mr. T thought maybe over the weekend they'd have gotten him, but here we are on Monday morning, and that suspect is still at large. We'll talk about that coming up. Charity McCurdy will get the headlines, traffic, and weather coming up as well. WOAI News Time, 6:16. Coming up, new evidence has been uncovered in the search for the killer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. We'll walk you through that coming up. First, Charity, what stories are you following?
President-elect Trump laid out his first day in office on NBC's Meet the Press. David Cook of Mansfield is now the Texas GOP's nominee for Speaker of the House. And Chris Paul made history during the Spurs' win over the Pelicans. We'll have details right now, traffic and weather.
Dense fog advisory in effect until 9 a.m. and then partly cloudy skies later today, highs in the upper 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, highs in the upper 50s. And then on Wednesday, mainly sunny, highs in the low 60s. It is 52 degrees at Randolph Air Force Base, 52 at Lackland Air Force Base, and 51 right here in Stone Oak. WOAI News Time, 621.
San Antonio's first news. Well, the plot thickens in the manhunt for the killer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, who was gunned down early in the morning in Manhattan last Wednesday. New evidence. Now, two new photos have been released. One where the suspect appears to be in a taxi wearing a mask. Another one, he is walking on the street. Now, they did find what they believe to be his backpack. It had a jacket inside, a Tommy Hilfiger jacket, and interestingly, Monopoly money in the backpack. They're thinking the killer sending a message there, just like on the shell casings in this case, that United Healthcare is a monopoly. There was no gun in the backpack. And Charity, we're hearing the search has even expanded to the Atlanta area.
Yeah, they're looking at any possible leads. There's even police divers searching for the weapon used in that murder in a lake in Central Park, and they weren't able to find anything at this point. They've also searched Central Park's iconic boathouse. So they're continuing to look for the murder weapon. We still don't even have the identity of the suspect, despite all these photos, even including one where the face mask is removed from the suspect. So you guys were thinking that they would have their man over the weekend, but clearly they're not any closer at this point.
Well, we don't know if they're not any closer. We just don't know what they know right now. We do know that the gun, possibility of that gun being a veterinary gun, which is used to put down animals and it doesn't put out a very loud sound. So that's part of the reason why it kind of jammed on him too. But somebody's got to know this guy.
Yeah.
As many pictures that we've seen and as much as it's been on TV, somebody's got to know this guy and going to have to say, and plus they're offering $60,000 reward right now, $50,000 by the FBI and another 10 by New York or vice versa, but 60 grand. Somebody's going to know this guy.
Yeah. And Charity, I was just seeing more imagery of him during the break. And I said to Mr. T, if nothing else, the guy's eyebrows, his thick eyebrows are very distinctive.
Amen.
And you would think perhaps, we always hear about police sketch artists. You would think that a composite photo, including the photo you mentioned, Charity, where his face mask is down, you would think with computer technology, we could get a composite of all the photos we have and get a better look at what this guy must look like without a hood and without a mask.
It may come down to fingerprints left on that water bottle, that burner phone, and perhaps the shell casings left at the scene. So we're going to have to wait and see what they're able to use evidence-wise to identify their suspect.
Lots coming up, including Charlie Parker with Those Were the Days and the fall of the government in Syria. We'll take a look at that. President Joe Biden says a historic opportunity now exists in the Middle East. Charity has everything you need to know at the bottom of the hour. WOAI News Time, 625.
Good morning. This is Fred. I understand that you're gonna do a lot of criminal searches and all that, but my question to you: who's gonna pick up all that crop that's out there in the United States? If they don't pick them up, who is? Are you gonna have a white man do that? Really, a white man picking up those crops? We need some of those people here because they're the ones that are making the United States. They're the ones that's building homes. They're the ones that doing all that hard work, not a white man.
Yeah, RK here. Well, looks like the swamp is alive and well, even with some demo rats swimming around in there. Man, everybody pray that the swamp just decomposes all of those that want to do us harm. Well, everybody have a swampless day. Bye, y'all.
6:30 is our time. San Antonio's first news. Good Monday morning. I'm Charity McCurdy. Among our top stories, Donald Trump conducts first network interview since the election, and the husband of a missing Almonds Park mother is set to make his first court appearance. First, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes and mornings. Your Monday forecast, dense fog advisory until 9 o'clock this morning, partly cloudy this afternoon, a high in the upper 70s, tonight's low 48, right now 52 degrees. President-elect Trump is reviving plans to end a designation guaranteed by the United States Constitution. Here's more from Fox's Gernal Scott.
President-elect Trump on NBC's Meet the Press said he plans to end birthright citizenship on day one of his new administration. The 14th Amendment guarantees every child born within U.S. jurisdiction is a citizen. He said he wanted to end it in his first term.
Through executive action. I was going to do it through executive action, but then we had to fix COVID first, to be honest with you.
He said he may have to take it to the states to get it done. The president-elect said during the interview that only the U.S. has birthright citizenship, but several nations, including Canada, Cuba, and France, offer it as well. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has fled to Russia, where he has been granted asylum following a rebel uprising against his regime. Speaking in Japan, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says the Biden administration is working to ensure that terrorists will not use the turmoil to create a terrorist state.
There's a potential that elements in the area, such as ISIS, could try to take advantage of this opportunity and regain capability.
The U.S. and Israel have conducted airstrikes in response. The husband of a missing Almonds Park mother, Suzanne Clark Simpson, will make his first court appearance today. Brad Simpson has been indicted on multiple charges, including murder, despite the absence of a body. Prosecutors have gathered enough evidence to proceed with charges. The search for the person who allegedly killed United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson continues in New York as investigators release new photos with the suspect and take their search for evidence to Central Park. Fox's Alexis McAdams has the latest.
Sources tell me the photo of the person of interest, they're calling him, was taken on a camera inside of a New York City taxi. It was taken minutes after the shooting as he's on his way to a nearby bus terminal to get out of town. So police are working to find more evidence in Central Park. The dive team searching the waters there, so they're doing everything they can to possibly find the weapon. I'm told that they think he could have just thrown into the water and then fled the area. Investigators say they also believe they found the gunman's backpack in that area. He tried to hide it in the woods before he took off. Inside, I'm told, was a jacket and some Monopoly money.
The FBI announced a $50,000 reward for any information about the suspect, along with a $10,000 reward the NYPD is offering. San Antonio police are trying to find a 17-year-old girl who went missing in North Bexar County. Sophia Cano was last heard from on November 26 near Stone Oak Parkway. She's 5'3", brown eyes, straight brown hair to the middle of her back. Her parents say she left behind her phone, her iPad, her keys, and her car. Anybody with information is asked to call the missing persons unit. A Lubbock state representative says he has the necessary votes to become the next Speaker of the Texas House, but another candidate is also claiming victory. John Mark Dempsey explains.
State Representative Dustin Burrows said Saturday evening, quote, "The Speaker's race is over. I have secured enough to be Speaker of the House for the next session." Burrows says the support is bipartisan and he would release the list of supporters later Saturday. The Texas Tribune reports Burrows' announcement came just minutes after State Representative David Cook of Mansfield, Burrows' main rival for the Speaker's gavel, had been declared the endorsed candidate by the House GOP caucus on a vote of 48-14. Previous Speaker Dade Phelan withdrew from the race Friday.
Well, the Brigham Young Cougars and the Colorado Buffaloes will face off in the 32nd annual Valero Alamo Bowl. Colorado is making its fourth appearance in the Alamo Bowl. Kickoff in the Alamo Dome is at 6:30 p.m. on December 28th. The Spurs went on a late run to bring down the New Orleans Pelicans 121-116 at the Frostbank Center last night. Spurs guard Chris Paul moved past Jason Kidd on the all-time assist list at number 2. Victor Wembanyama says that he was happy to be on the receiving end of Chris Paul's big assist.
It's already big right now. It's already big time, but in some years we're gonna, look back at it, and I'm gonna look back at it and think, oh well, I was the 12,000th or whatever assist,
And up next, the Spurs take on the Trailblazers in Portland on Friday. It is 6:36. Traffic and weather together in a minute, but first, to check if your money in the world of business. Courtney Donahoe is live at the Bloomberg News Desk. All right, thanks, Courtney. News at the top and bottom of every hour, along with breaking news as it happens. I'm Charity McCurdy. Here's traffic and weather.
San Antonio's first news. Charity McCurdy, Mr. T, Tim Merriman. I'm Chris Duell. Charlie Parker with Those Were the Days coming right up at 6:48 in less than 10 minutes. Well, a major international development over the weekend. President Bashar al-Assad, his administration, his government gone from Syria as rebels swept into the capital of Damascus and overthrew that government. It has been a brutal dictatorship since 2011, since the civil war in Syria of 2011. Here is President Joe Biden's reaction.
At long last, the Assad regime has fallen. This regime brutalized and tortured and killed literally hundreds of thousands of innocent Syrians.
Bashar al-Assad and his family have fled to Russia, where they are now. And a lot of people, including President Biden, Charity, saying this is an opportunity in the Middle East for a better government in Syria. But as we've often seen in the Middle East, you never know if the next regime is going to be worse than the current regime.
Yeah, it's often a game of whack-a-mole. You get rid of one terrorist and another pops up in its place, and that's the concern right now. Will some other terrorist organization take advantage of the situation? You got Syria's president fleeing to Russia. Russia has assets in Syria, so you're wondering what exactly is going to happen next. And of course, if you ask President-elect Trump, he thinks we should just stay out of it completely.
I kind of agree with that. Let's let it play out and see what happens. Not get involved until, unless we really have to. We should not get involved in this. Let them work it out.
So many times when we have been involved in the Middle East, things have gone very, very wrong.
Yeah.
You think about the aftermath of the war in Iraq when Saddam Hussein was ousted, but American forces were there in Iraq and in Baghdad trying to maintain order. And yet there was so much violence, so many IEDs, so many bombs, so many American lives that were lost in the aftermath of the Iraq war. So I'm with President Trump, President-elect Trump on this one. I think back off, see what happens, see what kind of government forms there, and then figure out how to deal with that government or see how we will approach that government at that point.
Yeah, and Trump also points out that, Russia and Iran are in a weakened state right now because of Ukraine and a bad economy, and the other because of Israel and its fighting success. So he's saying that Zelensky and Ukraine would like to make a deal and stop the madness. So he sees this as a big opportunity for a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah, he kind of mentioned that when he was talking to Kristen Welker, that he has been working on trying to end this Ukraine-Russia situation even before he takes office. So this is a good sign.
Yeah, the president-elect, we've heard a lot about day one, which will be January 20th when he is inaugurated. But you're right, he did allude to that with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press. Some of these things he'd like progress to be made before he takes office, and hopefully a lot of these countries will get in line. Back to Syria for a moment, though. We talk about the political vacuum that can take place now that President Bashar al-Assad has been toppled. One of the major groups that does business in the area is ISIS.
Yes.
And we've seen what ISIS can do. You remember the videos of the beheadings. The good news, the U.S. military says it struck more than 75 ISIS targets in Syria on Sunday alone, trying to make sure that ISIS doesn't take advantage of what's going on there.
Yeah, and in addition, you have Israel carrying out airstrikes of its own on suspected chemical weapon sites and long-range rockets to keep them from falling into the hands of extremists.
Yeah, and then there's also in there an American journalist still in Damascus, I believe is where he is. Tice is his name. And if we can get him back through all this, that would be great because he's been over there for over a decade.
That would be a nice overture from the rebels who have taken control there in Damascus. If they would find that journalist and hand him over peaceably to American officials, that would go a long way toward better relations or starting off on a good foot between the new regime or the forming regime in Damascus and in Syria and in the United States. Coming up, Charlie Parker with Those Were the Days. And before the top of the hour, we're going to hear from you. It was the big event yesterday. Kristen Welker sitting down with President-elect Donald Trump on Meet the Press. Did you watch? How do you feel the president-elect did? What were your takeaways? We'll hear your talkbacks coming up as well. WOAI News Time, 644.
The government of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad collapsed over the weekend. The search continues for the suspect in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. And Brad Simpson is set to make his first court appearance today in connection to the murder of his missing wife. We'll have the latest right now, traffic and weather.
Dense fog advisory in effect till 9 a.m. and then partly cloudy skies later on today, highs in the upper 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, highs in the upper 50s. Wednesday, sunshine, highs in the low 60s. Overnight lows tomorrow and on Wednesday in the low to mid 30s. It is 51 degrees in Leon Valley, 51 at the Snake Farm, and 50 right here in Stone Oak. WOAI News Time, 6:52.
San Antonio's first news. Our thanks to Charlie Parker for those were the days. Charity McCurdy, Mr. T, Tim Merriman, I'm Chris Duell. We have been asking you this morning about the biggest non-football event of the weekend. A little bit bigger than football, actually, in the scheme of things. President-elect Donald Trump sat down with Kristen Welker for an extended interview on Meet the Press. We've been playing you audio throughout the morning. We will continue to do so, but we've been asking you on the talkback feature on the free iHeartRadio app. Did you watch? And if you did, what did you think about what you heard? What stood out to you? Charity, how do people get us that information?
At the free iHeartRadio app, launch it, search 1200 WOAI, and you look for that red circle. That's the talkback button. Once you hit it, 30 seconds to provide your feedback.
Yeah, you'll sound like this.
ARK here. Well, looks like the swamp is alive and well, even with some demo rats swimming around in there. Man, everybody pray that the swamp just decomposes all of those that want to do us harm. Well, everybody have a swampless day. Bye, y'all.
Good morning. This is Fred. I understand that you're gonna do a lot of criminal searches and all that, but my question to you: who's gonna pick up all that crop that's out there in the United States? If they don't pick them up, who is? Are you gonna have a white man do that? Really, a white man picking up those crops? We need some of those people here because they're the ones that are making the United States. They're the ones that's building homes. They're the ones that doing all that hard work, not a white man.
Wow, powerful talk back right there from Fred. And Charity, we alluded to that a little earlier as part of this mass deportation plan. And we heard President-elect Trump talk about it with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press yesterday. Starting with the criminals, people with criminal records, they will be deported first. But it sure sounds like it will then expand to a greater segment of the population of people who are in this country illegally. And what Fred's referring to here is farm workers. So many of those jobs, if we're going to be honest, are being done by illegal workers. And if that population is gone, who's going to do those jobs?
It's a great question. And that's what a lot of economists have been sounding the alarm over. They're saying that removing workers central to key industries in our country would only increase inflation as well as food and housing costs. And you're talking about 11 million undocumented people in the country right now.
That's a lot of people to try to get out all at one time. So I think this is going to go on for a long time. But, going back to what Fred said, white people can go out and pick crops. Problem is they don't pay enough. And that's unfortunate. They should be going after the farmers that are, paying, I guess, below minimum wage to
Mhm.
people and have them boosted up a little bit. Maybe you'll get some better workers, or more workers, I should say.
It's going to be fascinating to see what kind of blowback there might be from agricultural companies. And obviously, there are major agricultural corporations that play a big part in feeding America. And when this happens, what I did like about, I liked many things about President-elect Donald Trump talking with Kristen Welker yesterday, Charity, but he seemed very reasoned and he seemed very reasonable. I know a lot of times when he's had these interviews with what he calls the fake news media, the mainstream media, often they're adversarial. You made a great point earlier this morning, Charity. Kristen Welker seemed more adversarial and agitated than did Donald Trump yesterday. He seemed very reasonable and he seemed open to whatever would make this country a better country. And one thing that struck me, she asked him at one point in the interview, what would you say to people who did not vote for you in this election? And Donald Trump said, I am going to love them as much as I love MAGA voters. He said, we're going to make this country a better country for all Americans, whether you voted for me or not. I saw a lot of things that I thought were very, very good for Team Trump.
It was amazing. He was really calm, more calm than I've ever seen him before in that kind of interview setting, especially when Kristen Welker continued to pepper him with questions, oftentimes when he hadn't even completed his last sentence of, his answer to the last question she asked. So his ability to remain calm and lay out the facts, his plans, and we got a better idea of what he plans to do on day one.
Yeah, and like you said, Charity, he remained calm even when she was interrupting him. But what I got from it, and I knew this about Donald Trump from the get-go, loyalty is big to him.
Oh, yeah.
He is very loyal to people that he wants on his staff, and his staff, the people that he's chosen to be on his staff, are very loyal to him. So that's something you got to say. The man is a big on loyalty.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at his cabinet choices, and pretty much every cabinet choice is a long-time loyal Trump loyalist. Now, some of them, like Pete Hegseth and others, at one time or another, did say something.
Sure.
I mean, just like J.D. Vance, who will become the vice president. He was an anti-Trumper or a never-Trumper at one time, but J.D. Vance said, and a lot of people who are now on Team Trump were people who at one time or another criticized him. Certainly Marco Rubio, who will become in all probability the Secretary of State when they were running, for the same office in 2016. It got very, very ugly between them. And I think what we're learning about Donald Trump, he says a lot of incendiary things on the campaign trail, but I think when the campaign is over, you saw when he had to sit down with Joe Biden after Donald Trump won this election. It was very conciliatory, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realize about Donald Trump. After a campaign is over, he's willing to sit down and be reasonable and work with both sides.
And that's so important. I think especially after this contentious election, people are looking for the country to come together, to feel united once again. And President-elect Trump, he's definitely setting the right tone for that.
And he also mentioned in that interview with Kristen Welker that he's willing to work with the Democrats to come up with a plan to help the Dreamers.
Yes.
Which, that's something you did not hear from Trump on the campaign trail at all.
No.
Working with any Democrats on anything, but he's willing to work with them.
Yeah, and I think he's even mentioned that at one point he was for, moving the Dreamers out of the country completely, as were many, many Republicans. So, yeah, I think he is showing a number of conciliatory issues and a lot of ways he's willing to work with the Democrats. And I think it's incumbent upon the Democrats to find a way to work with him, because Republicans will have, beginning on January 20th, they will have the White House, they will have the Senate, they will have the House, and we can certainly argue that they do have the Supreme Court right now.
There you go.
All right. Lots more coming up in the 6 o'clock hour. Check that in the 7 o'clock hour. Coming up, a segment we call Wait Till You Hear This. Mr. T, on Wait Till You Hear This, we will hear more from President-elect Donald Trump. An extended moment of his sit down with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press. Charity has everything you need to know at the top of the hour. Oh, we want to mention this in the next hour as well. At 7:40, the president and CEO of the Valero Alamo Bowl, Derek Fox, as Colorado and Deion Sanders coming to San Antonio to take on BYU in the Valero Alamo Bowl on December 28th. We'll talk about that and a lot more, but right now, Charity has everything you need to know on this Monday morning as WOAI news time is 7 o'clock.
Seven o'clock is our time. San Antonio's first news. Good Monday morning. I'm Charity McCurdy. Among our top stories, a regime change in Syria and the Alamo Bowl matchup is set. First, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes in mornings. Your Monday forecast, dense fog advisory until 9 o'clock this morning, partly cloudy this afternoon, a high in the upper 70s, tonight's low 48, right now 51 degrees. President-elect Trump sat down for his first network interview since being elected with NBC on Sunday. He appeared to walk back previous statements that he would go after his critics and rivals, including President Biden and his family, on NBC News' Meet the Press.
I'm really looking to make our country successful. I'm not looking to go back into the past. I'm looking to make our country successful. Retribution will be through success.
President Biden is allegedly considering giving preemptive pardons to his administration due to concerns that Trump's administration would unfairly prosecute them. A 50-year dictatorship was overthrown over the weekend. Now Syria is looking to the future. Here's Fox's Jonathan Savage.
As Islamist rebel group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS, swept into Syria's capital Damascus, longtime leader Bashar al-Assad fled to Russia with his family. Assad and his father ruled the country with an iron fist for over 5 decades. World leaders now hoping for stability but warning of risk and uncertainty. It's still not clear who will run Syria or how. Some opposition figures say all political groups must get together to plot a peaceful future. HTS has been releasing inmates from a notorious military prison, and people have been celebrating the overthrow in the streets. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
The search continues for evidence in the shooting death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. NYPD dive crews were back in Central Park yesterday searching a pond. Police have yet to recover the gun used in last Wednesday's shooting in Manhattan, and they have not identified the suspect. Jay-Z is being accused in a civil lawsuit of raping a 13-year-old girl with Sean Diddy Combs at an after-party for the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. Fox's Marianne Rafferty reports.
A woman claims the music star and entrepreneur, along with music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, sexually assaulted her when she was 13 years old. The anonymous accuser says it happened back in 2000. Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, denies the accusation and calls it, quote, idiotic. The woman filed the civil lawsuit against Combs in October, but amended it today to include Jay-Z.
Federal prosecutors in New York charged Diddy in September with racketeering, sex trafficking, and other offenses. His trial is scheduled for May. The husband of missing Almas Park mother, Suzanne Clark Simpson, will make his first court appearance today. Simpson has been indicted on multiple charges, including murder. Despite the absence of a body, prosecutors have gathered enough evidence to proceed with charges. Well, the city's horse-drawn carriage industry is speaking out as its operations face a ban in the city. Eric Lycum has a story.
Attorneys for 4 San Antonio horse-drawn carriage companies will speak to reporters this afternoon to publicly oppose the San Antonio City Council's plans to phase out and do away with their clients' businesses anywhere from 12 to 36 months from now. The issue is on the council agenda for Thursday, so proponents are speaking out now. I'm Eric Lycum. News Radio 1200 WOAI.
Moana 2 is still ruling the weekend box office. The animated sequel grossed an estimated $52 million in its second weekend. Wicked remained a hit, taking second with $34.8 million. Gladiator 2 also continued to do well with an estimated $12.4 million. The Brigham Young Cougars and the Colorado Buffaloes will face off in the 32nd annual Valero Alamo Bowl. Colorado is making its fourth appearance in the Alamo Bowl. Kickoff is on December 28th at 6:30 p.m. at the Alamo Dome. It is 7:05. The Spurs beat the Pelicans at home last night. The voice of the Spurs, Bill Schoening, has more in today's Spurs Insider, brought to you by Germ Logic. And today's Spurs Insider brought to you by SWBC. News at the top and bottom of every hour, along with breaking news as it happens. I'm Charity McCurdy. Traffic and weather coming up.
San Antonio's first news, big 7 o'clock hour is upon us. At 7:40, the president and CEO of the Valero Alamo Bowl, Derek Fox. If you can't get a playoff team that's in the college football playoff, the next desirable team, in my opinion, is Colorado with Deion Sanders. That's what we got. We got Colorado versus BYU. We'll talk about that with Derek Fox at 7:40. Coming up at 7:20, Brad Simpson, the husband of and accused of the murder of Suzanne Simpson, the missing Almas Park mom. He is due for his first court appearance today. We will dive into that at 7:20. And coming right up on a segment we call Wait Till You Hear This, the sit down between President-elect Donald Trump and Kristen Welker on Meet the Press yesterday. First, your traffic and weather together.
Yeah, that dense fog advisory in effect until 9 a.m. this morning. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon, highs in the upper 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, highs in the upper 50s. Wednesday, sunshine, highs in the low 60s. 38 degrees in Kerrville, Texas. 52 in New Braunfels, and 50 right here at the Radio Ranch. WOAI News Time, 7:11.
San Antonio's first news, that is Mr. T, Tim Merriman, Charity McCurdy. Our thanks to Charlie Parker for those were the days. And the last half hour, I'm Chris Duell. Every weekday morning at this time, we span the globe to bring you the constant variety of audio in a segment we call Wait Till You Hear This. And it was the big event yesterday. Even though the interview was recorded on Friday, it aired yesterday on NBC on Meet the Press. President-elect Donald Trump, a sit-down extended interview with Kristen Welker. Let's listen.
Is it your plan to deport everyone who is here illegally over the next 4 years?
Well, I think you have to do it, and it's a very tough thing to do. But you have to have, you have rules, regulations, laws. They came in illegally. The people that have been treated very unfairly are the people that have been online for 10 years to come into the country. And we're going to make it very easy for people to come in terms of they have to pass the test. They have to be able to tell you what the Statue of Liberty is. They have to tell you a little bit about our country. They have to love our country. They can't come out of prisons. We don't want people that are in for murder. So we had 11,000 and 13,000 different estimates, 13,099 murderers released into our country over the last 3 years. They're walking down the streets. They're walking next to you and your family, and they're very dangerous.
The 13,000 figure, I think, goes back about 40 years.
No, it doesn't. No,
That
it's within the 3-year
13,000
period. It's during the Biden term now. That was a fiction that they put that out. This was done by the Border Patrol. It's 13,099, and it's during the Biden period of time. And these are murderers, many of whom murdered more than one person. You don't want those people in this country.
Donald Trump explaining why mass deportations are important, especially those who have committed crimes, especially those who are murderers. And you heard it right there, Charity, what he did a lot of times. Kristen Welker would try to refute something Donald Trump was saying, and he was very, very quick to knock it down.
But calm in the process. He didn't become hostile, which I think is important in terms of optics, especially when he rails against the mainstream media. I believe NBC News probably falls in that category for the president-elect. But Kristen Welker was very aggressive with her line of questioning, often not letting him even complete his answer before asking another question. And I think he did extraordinarily well in that setting. And I think he did a good job of laying out his intentions, especially on day one in office.
Yeah, and when he was talking about, all the people that are waiting to get in, the proper way through the right channels, and you want to help those people get in the right way, I appreciated that, him reaching out and, sharing that side of the story.
11 million people in this country illegally. One of the things that President-elect Trump cited with Kristen Welker in that Meet the Press interview was the cost.
Oh, yeah.
The economic cost to the American people. Not only a lot of social services that are being afforded to people who are in the country illegally, but certainly in the case of criminals, those who are committing crimes in this country, and certainly someone who was a criminal when they are coming in, they are more predisposed to commit crimes in this country. Then we have to house them in our jail systems. We have to feed them, spend all the money to have our legal system take care of them. That is a huge economic cost to this country.
Especially when you're talking about violent, criminal, illegal immigrants. I don't think you're going to have a lot of people disagreeing with President-elect Trump about the need to get them out of this country. I think he's going to enter murkier waters when he's talking about maybe changes to the 14th Amendment, ending birthright citizenship, things like that, topics regarding dreamers. I think that's going to probably prove to be a little bit more challenging.
I totally agree with that. But first things first, let's get the criminals out of the country first. I am totally with President-elect Donald Trump on that. Coming up, it is a big day in court here in Bexar County for Brad Simpson, the husband of missing Almas Park mom Suzanne Simpson, the man accused of her murder, even though there is yet no body that has been discovered. We'll talk about his first court appearance today coming up. We'll get you caught up on headlines, traffic, and weather as well. WOAI News Time, 7:15. Coming up, we'll talk about the first court appearance of Brad Simpson, the husband and accused murderer of missing Alma's Park mom, Suzanne Simpson. But first, Charity McCurdy, what stories are you following?
The Syrian government has collapsed after rebels seized control of Damascus. Donald Trump talks mass deportations on NBC's Meet the Press. And horse-drawn carriages will be a big issue this week for City Council. We'll have the latest right now, traffic and weather.
Dense fog advisory till 9 a.m. Partly cloudy skies after that. Highs in the upper 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, highs in the upper 50s. Wednesday, sunshine, highs in the low 60s. Overnight lows tomorrow and Wednesday in the low to mid 30s. It is 50 degrees in Alamo Heights, 50 degrees in Leon Valley, and 50 right here at the Radio Ranch. WOAI News Time, 720.
San Antonio's first news. It has been a huge local story. I would argue it has been the biggest local story since October 6th. That is the night that Suzanne Clark Simpson disappeared. Just 3 days later, on October 9th, her husband, Brad Simpson, was arrested on charges of assault and family violence and unlawful restraint involving his wife. Of course, it was last week that we learned that Brad Simpson was formally charged by a grand jury with the murder of his wife, Suzanne Clark Simpson, even though the body has yet to have been found. And Charity, we now know that this morning, Brad Simpson will make his first court appearance.
Yes, and this is pretty much going to set the tone for legal proceedings and to see where both sides are at in this case. And it is highly anticipated that the judge could take up the defense's motion just to quash the indictment altogether. Based on the defense's claim, there's no body, so they don't have a case in this. But as we learned last week, Suzanne Simpson's DNA was found on a motorized handsaw, and in addition to witness testimony and surveillance video of Brad Simpson's whereabouts following the night Suzanne Clark Simpson disappeared, it sounds like the prosecution has the sufficient evidence they need.
Well, and this is such a high-profile case that, the judge wants to know where both sides are. They want to see how much evidence, it's a chance to get both sides' paperwork in order, get it ready to go. I'm just wondering, I don't think it'll come up today, but I'm sure the defense, if this does keep going to trial, will want a change of venue because of the press that this story is getting in the San Antonio area.
The press has been just huge, and I think rightfully so.
Yes.
I mean, this story has so much going on, including the fact that this family, 4 kids, Almas Park, a nice house, nice neighborhood. Suzanne Clark Simpson, by all accounts, a successful real estate agent. And I mean, this is what happens with stories like this. Every missing person and every murder case obviously should get a lot of attention, but you just factor in, Charity, the affluent neighborhood, the upscale home, these two, this husband and this wife and these kids and the things that we heard. It all factors into being a story that so many people in San Antonio and South Texas have been talking about since she went missing.
And this has made national headlines as well. I mean, major news networks are picking up on this story. So there's a lot of interest, not just locally, but on a national level. But I will be interested to see if any of Brad Simpson's children, extended family, will be in court today for his first appearance. As you know, even Brad Simpson's own brother has come out against him and said, you need to cooperate with authorities for the sake of your children. You need to tell them where Suzanne Simpson is.
And if his kids do show up and his family does show up, just the looks back and forth between them will say a lot about what's going on. Mm-hmm. So, I'm interested in that as well, Charity.
Totally agree. And obviously, we also heard shortly after her disappearance from Suzanne Simpson's mother and discussions about a phone call that her mother said she had the night of her disappearance with her daughter, Suzanne Simpson, where the mother was offering to Suzanne Simpson a way out, saying, come stay with me, come live at my home for now, since apparently the allegations of domestic violence were going on in that home. Coming up at 7:40, the president and CEO of the Valero Alamo Bowl, Derek Fox, will join us. I think we've got a great matchup featuring a superstar, primetime, Deion Sanders, the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, coming to San Antonio for the December 28th Valero Alamo Bowl. Charity, with everything you need to know at the bottom of the hour. WOAI News Time, 7:25.
7:30 is our time. San Antonio's first news. Good Monday morning. I'm Charity McCurdy. Among our top stories, Donald Trump conducts his first network interview since winning the election, and the husband of a missing Almas Park mother is set to appear in court. First, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes in mornings. Your Monday forecast, dense fog advisory until 9 a.m. Partly cloudy this afternoon, a high in the upper 70s. Tonight's low 48. Right now, 52 degrees. Well, President-elect Donald Trump sat down for his first network interview since he was elected with NBC yesterday. Trump said he would deport children who are citizens in order to keep families together on NBC News' Meet the Press.
We have to do our job, and you have to have a series of standards and a series of laws. And in the end, look, our country is a mess.
Trump also talked about his desire to end birthright citizenship, which is covered under the 14th Amendment. Republican National Committee co-chair Laura Trump is stepping down. Here's Fox's Deborah Valentine.
Laura Trump made the announcement on the social media platform X. She previously told Fox she's open to filling the Senate seat being vacated by Marco Rubio. He's been chosen by President-elect Trump as his Secretary of State.
I would be honored, Todd, to serve as the next senator from my state right now. I've lived here for 3.5 years, of Florida.
The final decision on who fills out the remainder of Rubio's term is the decision of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Deborah Valentine, Fox News.
Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has fled to Russia, where he has been granted asylum following a rebel uprising against his regime. Speaking in Japan, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says the Biden administration is working to ensure that terrorists will not use the turmoil to create a terrorist state.
There's a potential that elements in the area, such as ISIS, could try to take advantage of this opportunity and regain capability.
The U.S. and Israel have launched airstrikes in response. Republicans are rallying support for Trump's pick for Defense Secretary. Beth Myers reports.
Pete Hegseth has been under fire from Democrats and even some Republicans for his hardline approach to the military. But San Antonio Congressman Chip Roy says he likes what the Fox News host stands for.
That wokeism is destroying the United States military. I agree with Pete that we don't need to have endless wars.
He chastised his fellow Republicans who refused to support the incoming administration. Hegseth is a former National Guard officer, and he's vowed to rename the Defense Department and instead go back to calling it the War Department. I'm Beth Myers, News Radio 1200 WOAI.
The husband of missing Almas Park mother, Suzanne Clark Simpson, will make his first court appearance this morning. Simpson has been indicted on multiple charges, including murder. Despite the absence of a body, prosecutors have gathered enough evidence to proceed with charges against Brad Simpson. The search for the person who allegedly killed United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson continues in New York as investigators release new photos of the suspect and take their search for evidence to Central Park. Fox's Alexis McAdams has the latest.
Sources tell me the photo of the person of interest, they're calling him, was taken on a camera inside of a New York City taxi. It was taken minutes after the shooting as he's on his way to a nearby bus terminal to get out of town. So police are working to find more evidence in Central Park. The dive team searching the waters there, so they're doing everything they can to possibly find the weapon. I'm told that they think he could have just thrown into the water and then fled the area. Investigators say they also believe they found the gunman's backpack in that area. He tried to hide it in the woods before he took off. Inside, I'm told, was a jacket and some Monopoly money.
The FBI announced a $50,000 reward for any information about the suspect, along with a $10,000 reward the NYPD is offering. Jay-Z is being accused in a civil lawsuit of the rape of a 13-year-old girl in 2000, allegedly with Sean Diddy Combs. The accuser said the assault took place after she was driven to an MTV Video Music Awards after party. The lawsuit was originally filed in October, but was refiled Sunday to include Jay-Z. In the statement, Jay-Z said the allegations were so heinous in nature that he implored the filing a criminal complaint, not a civil one, and he denies any wrongdoing. A suspected drunk driver is in custody after crashing into an SAPD patrol car Friday night. The man reportedly ran a West Side red light and collided with the police car. He was arrested on suspicion of DWI. No serious injuries were reported, but the officer was taken to a local hospital to be checked out. College football bowl season's upon us, and the matchup for the 32nd annual Valero Alamo Bowl has been announced. Eric Lycum has details.
This year, the Valero Alamo Bowl features number 17 Brigham Young Cougars' inaugural appearance, taking on number 23 Colorado Buffaloes, who appear for the fourth time. Overall, BYU was 10-2 on the season, and Coach Deion Sanders' Buffs were 9-3, but both teams were tied at 7-2 in Big 12 conference play. Kickoff is set for 6:30, December 28th in the Alamo Dome. I'm Eric Lycum, News Radio 1200 WOAI.
UTSA will play Coastal Carolina in the Myrtle Beach Bowl later this month. Both teams are playing in the postseason for the fifth straight year, and UTSA is making its sixth bowl appearance in its history. It's also the first meeting ever for the two schools. Kickoff in the Myrtle Beach Bowl is at 10 a.m. December 23rd at Brooks Stadium in Conway, South Carolina. It is 7:37. Traffic and weather together in a minute. But first, to check of your money in the world of business, Courtney Donahoe is live at the Bloomberg News Desk. All right, thanks, Courtney. News at the top and bottom of every hour, along with breaking news as it happens. I'm Charity McCurdy. Here's traffic and weather.
San Antonio's first news. Charity McCurdy, Mr. T, Tim Merriman. I am Chris Duell, and I am excited, and I have been excited ever since I heard what the matchup would be in the Valero Alamo Bowl as we welcome in the president and CEO of the Valero Alamo Bowl, Derek Fox. Derek, I was telling people all last week and up until yesterday's selection, if we get Colorado, if we get primetime Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, and Travis Hunter, that's going to be like the greatest possible team we can get that is not a college football playoff team. Congratulations, and your thoughts on this matchup.
Oh, Chris, thank you very much. Yeah, we're delighted to have number 17 BYU taking on number 23 Colorado Buffaloes here in the Valero Alamo Bowl, and had a quick hit yesterday with both coaches. And as you can see, both of them were thrilled to be coming to San Antonio. And as you mentioned there, Coach Prime has been pretty adamant that they plan on playing, and they've got something to finish, and good for him. So congratulations to their team. They deserved it. Same with BYU. Should be a great matchup on the field too.
Derek, what's the history between these two teams? How often have they played each other, and who has the edge going in?
Good question. I believe Colorado has the edge, and last time they met was 1988. So even though, yes, there's been a lot of conversation about being an all Big 12 matchup, they have not played this year and haven't played since 1988. So, yeah, with conference realignment, it's put together some unique situations this year. But as you said at the top, great matchup that we're thrilled to have here in San Antonio.
And once again, congratulations, Derek, on getting this matchup. But what would it take to get the Alamo Bowl on the, I guess, rotation for college football playoff games?
Well, probably the first big thing that seems to be, starting the progress is, the renovations to the Alamo Dome. That's kind of been an issue and an impediment from the CFP. And I know the same thing for the NCAA on the Final Four. It's like, hey, we love San Antonio. The building just doesn't stack up. Now, if Project Marvel proceeds and the significant renovations that take place to meet those standards, then I like our chances, because now it's not a hard no because of the building. Now we level the playing field with the building, and then I like our chances every place else. With the sponsors and supporters like Valero that we have, it's awesome.
Derek, we both said his name, primetime, Deion Sanders. This game will be in primetime, 6:30 Saturday, December 28th on ABC television. You guys have always had amazing ratings with the Valero Alamo Bowl, but I guess we have to believe the numbers are going to be huge on this because everybody's interested in Colorado.
Yeah, they certainly draw, that's for sure. And the excitement not only on campus and behind the program in Colorado, but like you talked about, on a national viewing audience, it's significant, and Colorado rates very highly, and BYU does as well. So I think we're in a great spot. Got a great matchup for this year's Valero Alamo Bowl, and as you mentioned, is in prime time, no pun intended, on December 28th. And as you saw, Coach Prime yesterday on the press conference talking about, we got to beat that record. We saw that A&M attendance. We saw that George Strait. Now we can't get to the George Strait guy in the numbers because obviously we don't have the seats on the field. But I like his enthusiasm.
And Derek, when you talk about the economic impact this bowl game generates, I mean, the numbers are incredible. These fans are staying at local hotels, eating at restaurants, and will probably do some shopping in the process.
Oh, absolutely. You look at it's about a $40 million economic impact every year, give or take, and depending on teams coming in. And this case, we've got two teams coming in from outside the state, so that's always beneficial. So they typically tend to stay longer when you're coming in from outside the state. And then, again, the weather here is always great. So last I checked, Provo and Boulder are a little chillier than San Antonio, so we should have a chance for them to get out and enjoy the weather here too.
All right, Derek, where can I get tickets, and is there any special packages available, like tailgating, private parties? What's out there?
Yeah, it's really the best thing to do is go to alamobowl.com and check out the website there. Literally everything's there, or feel free to call into our office as well.
Hey, speaking of tickets, Derek, have you looked and have you noticed? My guess would be, and I know usually tickets sell very, very well to the Valero Alamo Bowl, and I know it's only been hours since the announcement was made, but have you looked at tickets since you made this announcement, and is the spike higher than in normal years, given, again, I keep going back to prime time, but given the Colorado, and you've got the leader for the Heisman, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, how are ticket sales so far?
There was a good initial surge yesterday after the response. I've not had a chance to check in this morning and see how we did overnight, but I'd anticipate to be pretty good. And to the point about having, Travis being the likely Heisman Trophy winner, and obviously Shador may very well be invited to the Heisman Trophy. So to have those two players, and he won the Unitas Award already, in our game, and from all indications are playing in our game, congratulations to them.
And Derek, we talked about the economic impact of the Valero Alamo Bowl. What about, what the bowl contributes to higher education through team payouts and local scholarships?
Yeah, great. Yeah, this year the team payout's $9.8 million. So we're inching up towards the $10 million mark combined for the two teams. Our scholarships this year will be over $1.2 million. And those are awarded to 96 or 97 local high school scholars for $7,500 each from every local high school. And then we participate with the 6 local universities. And then we did $510,000 there as well. So another significant impact in education here in San Antonio.
And Derek, once again, congratulations on the dream matchup. That's what we all wanted. So thank you very much for everything you do, Derek.
Just been trying to be Santa Claus, right?
Yeah, we look forward to it. And by the way, at alamobowl.com, there is merch. There's already merch up at, you can get some cool t-shirts and merch at the website. Derek Fox, the president and CEO of the Valero Alamo Bowl. You guys knock it out of the park every year, and you're about to do it again. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you guys for your support, and thanks for having us on.
Much more coming up. We'll get you caught up on headlines, traffic, and weather. And we're getting your reaction throughout the morning on the Talkback feature on the free iHeartRadio app. Did you watch Meet the Press yesterday as President-elect Donald Trump sat down with Kristen Welker? If you did, what did you think? Any key takeaways? Your Talkback's coming up. WOAI News Time, 746. Coming up, your reaction to President-elect Donald Trump sitting down with Kristen Welker. It aired yesterday on NBC on Meet the Press. That and a whole lot more coming up. First, Charity, what stories are you following?
President-elect Trump laid out his first day in office on NBC's Meet the Press. The race for the Texas House speakership has two candidates in the running, and Chris Paul made history during the Spurs win over the Pelicans. We'll have details right now, traffic and weather.
Dense fog advisory in effect till 9 a.m. this morning. Partly cloudy skies after that. Highs in the upper 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy. Highs in the upper 50s. Wednesday, sunshine. Highs in the low 60s. 50 degrees in Monte Vista. 50 in China Grove. And 50 right here in Stone Oak. WOAI News Time, 7:52.
San Antonio's first news. Coming up in the next half hour at 8:20, Mike Opelka from the Pure Opelka podcast, his thoughts on the morning's big stories. And of course, one of the big stories, I'm sure Mike Opelka is going to be reacting to it. President-elect Donald Trump yesterday on Meet the Press with Kristen Welker. And we've been asking you on the free iHeartRadio app on the talkback feature. Did you watch? What were your thoughts, not only on President Trump's performance? I think the three of us think he did quite well in that setting. But what are your key takeaways? And Charity, how do they get us that information?
The absolutely free iHeartRadio app. You search 1200 WOAI. Look for that red circle. That's the talkback button. Hit it. 30 seconds to sound off.
Like this.
Good morning. What you guys are not talking about are all the they're actually illegal aliens, but I guess they're not, because they do have a work visa and they come across all the time to help us get the crops and stuff like that. So, I mean, there are people that come over legitimately, and they're not U.S. citizens. So that can continue. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.
Morning, everybody. People keep saying that you get rid of illegal immigrants. Who's going to pick the crops? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? The question should be is, why are you okay with people getting paid below minimum wage, below anything living-wise, to do a hard job? Ask yourselves that, and then ask yourselves, why aren't they paying at least minimum wage for this kind of jobs? And as for who's going to do it, they'll just automate most of the systems anyways that they can. All right, later.
Good morning, boys and girls. Cibolo Ron here. The sad part about it is that farming industry is not the only industry that has illegal workers in it. It's pretty much across the table. It's not every industry, but pretty much all. And we're not saying not to come in and work, but when I go to somebody's house, I go in through the front door, not the back. Have a great morning.
Good morning, WOAI crew. This is Nick.